right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of Grandpa's Farmhouse Restoration. And I hope y'all aren't getting too tired of the same intro almost every week of driving down the driveway, but man, the colors are starting to change, and I just can't help myself but film that as a drive in. So you're probably going to get a little bit more of that the next couple of weeks as the colors begin to change. As you can see, I'm wearing a hoodie this week. This particular farm sits kind of down in a valley, and it's usually about 10 or 15 degrees colder here than it is in the surrounding areas. So like my house is an hour away, and it's usually about 10 or 15 degrees cooler here. So as we get into, it's late October and then we get into November, it's kind of cold down here. So I just was told that tomorrow is supposed to be real cold and real windy. And so I am closing all the windows. They've been open all summer to let breeze blow through, and now it's time to close them because it's chilly down here. So few things as we get started this week. One is that I'm going to be announcing the laser giveaway in this video. So keep watching and find out what you need to do if you want to enter that contest. And even if you don't need a laser, I mean, it's a pretty decent value laser. So, I mean, it'd be a nice thing to have anyway. So I will be announcing that just a little bit later. So stay tuned for that. The other thing is that I am not really sure what is on my agenda for this week. So I'm just going to kind of make it up as I go. I do need to begin to get ready for insulation. So one thing I will be doing is, like, you can maybe see here above this window, we have some dirt dauber nests and things like that up on the tops of walls and things. There's still some upstairs. There's still quite a bit of that stuff. So I will be starting to clean some of that stuff up. Other things that just need to be done is when I did the flooring upstairs, this board right here that you're looking at is one of the old joists, and it's not, well, you can see it right there. It is not touching that subfloor. So I need to tear this board down, and then these are still just the old wall boards that I need to take off. And then I'll just take another 2x4 or 2x something, I don't know yet, and I'll just push it up against those subfloor up there and then nail it into the studs across here. So that's one thing I'll be doing to get prepared for, I got to get all that done so we can be prepared for drywall and that kind of thing. So just kind of wrapping some things up here to get ready for the next steps. Alright, so if you noticed when I came in this morning that I'm still using this temporary locking mechanism that comes on the doors. And so a little bit of a interesting story here. Funny thing that happened. Last week when Philip was here, I told him that I'm still using this thing to get in and out, and this one has become a little bit tough to get in. I have to use a knife or a screwdriver to kind of pop it loose. So I told him it would be nice if they would pick out some door handles to go on here, and then I could pick them up, get them installed. And he told me that he wanted at least one of them to be a one of these keypad locks that a lot of people are using now. And so when I went home that evening, I had an email from this AK Gear company, or AKA Gear. Their primary product that they have made in the past are action cameras. They're kind of an alternative to a GoPro camera. But now they've started this line of smart locks and home security features. And so they're brand new, and they are just wanting some people to check them out, see what they think. So I'm going to install this thing here and get it put on this door and see how it works. And just was kind of an interesting coincidence that Philip wanted one of these, and now we got one. So works out. Here we go. So this is kind of handy. Instead of just throwing the screws all in a bag, they actually show you what they're used for. So that'll be helpful. I won't have to chase that down. Not that installing a lock is terribly hard, but it's just a little extra detail. It's kind of cool. Okay, so first thing here is the locking mechanism itself. The bolt, I guess, just goes in there. And it is adjustable for if you have a 2 3/8, or is it 2 1/2, 2 3/4, whatever it is. So it fits both hole patterns on your doors. So it just goes in there, and just like if you've done any kind of a doorknob before, goes in the same way. Okay, and then you have the outdoor keypad mechanism, and it has a little gasket on it so that you don't get any weather in there, any problems. So it has a little USB port in the bottom. I'm not exactly sure what that's for, but I'll find out when I read the setup instructions later. But okay, so the wiring just feeds in underneath the mechanism. The blade here just goes in, needs to be horizontal, and that just pushes in there, and hopefully doesn't fall out while I get the other pieces. Okay, so then we have the interior handle piece, and it has this back plate that comes off. And so I will set this piece aside for now, and this cabling feeds through this hole right here, and then this goes on here, and then we feed our screws through. Make sure we are getting everything lined up, and just like every other door like this, it might take a second to get everything lined up. Alright, so it's just snug, so I'm just going to check the outside is centered and parallel with the door. And while holding it, I'm going to check and make sure the inside is parallel with the door, and then go ahead and tighten those down. So, and then we have our interior piece here, and we bring this cable through, and it just snaps in the bottom there. No big deal. And then we want to make sure our lock is in the upright position. We'll just try to feed this wire and get it behind here. That's going to be a little bit tricky. That's going to be tight. I assume that's what they're going for there, but anyway, it's kind of the only way to do that. And then we have some screws. All right, so there's our open and closed. Okay, so with the 8 included AA batteries, we'll get them installed here. All right, so let's see if this works. I've got most of the batteries in. Put the last one in.
Your lock is ready to pair. Unlock.
All right, so it's a little bit tricky because it wants to be connected to a phone or Wi-Fi, and we don't have any of that here right now. So it's a little bit tricky to get it set up without any of that, but I think I've got it. So you have to push this to make it activate, wake it up.
Your lock is ready to pair.
It wants to pair, but if I press and hold the pound key, it locks. And then I can push in the passcode. Again, I have to wake it up somehow.
Your lock is ready to pair. Unlock.
And now it unlocks. All right, so I've still got some things to figure out on it, but for now, I think I can lock the door when I leave. Not that it matters because the other doors are unlocked, but at least it should be easier to get in and out without trying to pop that little pin in and out of there. So. Okay, well, it was about 40 degrees when I got here this morning, and I'm sure it was colder than that overnight. We're down in a valley here, and the cold settles. So it had warmed up to about 40 outside, but inside here it was still pretty cold. So I have my kerosene diesel torpedo heater, and I've had it going to take the chill off in here. So, and since we all know heat rises, I am going to go upstairs until the weather kind of warms up, and I got stuff I need to do up here anyway. So I'm going to finish these little sidewalls and the dormers that I haven't done yet. I think that's the only thing I have left to do up here before I'm ready to start insulation. A little bit of wiring. There's not going to be a whole lot as far as that goes. There will be ceiling fan overhead with lights, and then Philip wants in each dormer to have its own little, probably just a little recessed light with its own little switch. So be kind of a little place you could just, I don't know, kids can go in there and play a game, or, you know, maybe you sit in there on a beanbag or something, if that's still a thing, I don't know, and read a book or anything like that. They're kind of just a nice little nook there out of the way, and since most of the rest of this space is going to be beds up here, it'll be kind of the only usable space. So anyway, I'm rambling too much, but I'm going to get started on these walls. Alright, so there we have our little door going into our crawl space. So that'll actually be some pretty good storage back in there. I would like to probably get another piece of plywood to put back in there, and same on this side. Just simply because if kids get messing around in there, you don't want them falling through the ceiling downstairs. And And there's plenty of storage, but it would be nice to be a little bit safer there. So probably get that done later on. Well, I need to staple this wire just to keep it from flopping around in the wall. But I have this center section, got the electrical box up there, and I ran a 3-way wire to it so that we can control a ceiling fan and a light with 2 separate switches here. And then I have those closed in. I need to do a little bit of wiring over there, but I just wanted to show you where we are getting real close. I just noticed there's a couple of boards there that still need tore off, but we're getting real close to being ready for spray foam up here. Okay, when I put these doors in, I just was trying to get everything ready for the exterior. So on the outside, when you put these exterior doors in, they come with the brick mold trim already attached to the frame, and you just level them up outside and you drive nails in, and that holds the door frame in. But as far as the door actually being right up and down this way, and closing right, and all your gaps inside being correct, you have to come into the inside and put shims in between the framing and the door frame. And so here on this side, you can kind of see it on the camera even, that this needs adjusted because it's a lot wider here in the middle, and it's actually really, this door kind of hangs up on the top. It's almost touching right there, and it's because this door frame is not perfectly plumb, right? This hinge actually needs to come here, which would push this corner of the door down, which will open up that spacing there so it doesn't hang up. I can see here, I don't know if it shows up on camera or not, but this laser line is right on the edge of this door jamb. And then here, it's in just a little bit. And then here, it's in. So this one actually needs to pull in. So the way we do this is we put shims in between here and then open the door up and screw. When they put these doors on in the factory, they actually leave one of the screws out of the holes for the hinge. So you drive a longer screw through the hinge and into the framing structure of the house to be able to pull the door where you need to go. In this case, it actually needs to push the other way, but then your door is securely fastened to the structure of the house. And unless the house moves, your door should stay good and plumb and open right, and everything should be good. So I'm gonna get started on this. All right, so before I forget, we're gonna do the laser giveaway. So here's what you have to do. You need to leave a comment on this video, and then you need to go back to the laser review video, which I will leave a link to right up here, and leave a comment on that video. So you have to leave a comment on both videos. And then on November 14th at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time in the US, I will close the competition and I will do a drawing of a comment from the laser review video. But I will go check to make sure that you have commented on this video also. So you have to comment on both of them. And this contest is only open to US residents. So be sure to get entered if you want to win this thing. Like I said before, even if it's not something you're going to use, it's a pretty good price tag on it. So, you know, it would be worth winning. People like giveaways. People like free stuff. So go watch the other video, leave a comment on this video. And then on 2 weeks from today, in the video, I will be announcing the winner. So be sure to check that out. And then the winner will have to get in touch with me. So these lasers are really distracting me. Maybe I should have shut it off, but I just thought it made kind of a neat effect going on here. So, but anyway, so sorry about that distraction. Go enter and, right in the eyes. So go ahead and get entered and be looking for the winner in the video that comes out on November 15th. So, yeah, I'm going to stop rambling and get back to work now. Okay, so let's talk about caulking. I'm going to start doing the outside here of the house. One thing for sure on the exterior is don't go buy cheapy dollar store bargain bin grade caulking. Get a good caulking. It doesn't have to be this brand. It can be, there's lots of different ones. Just buy a decent, I like this Big Stretch. You can get it in white or clear. I got white for this, but when this stuff cures, it will stretch like 600% its own size. And I've tried it. It maybe not exactly what they're claiming, but it does have a good stretch to it. If you use cheap caulking and you go in these joints, and then if you go around and look at houses, you can see where they've used cheap caulking, because after it's been painted over and you wait 6 months or a year, and the stuff will have cracks down it, and it's just because it has no stretch to it. This stuff will stretch and it will move with any kind of structural movement or expanding, contraction, all of that kind of stuff. So just be sure you're using a good caulking. Second, you can find 10 million videos online of how to use caulking. And a lot of people, you'll see these videos where they cut the end of it and then they put a little notch in it, or they heat it up and they melt it and they do all this weird stuff. None of that stuff is necessary. The biggest thing about caulking is learning how to do it, practice, do it right, and don't use too much. And I'll show you that here in a second. Most people want to just glob a great big old bead down there and then come back and wipe it off with their finger, and you end up with this big mess on your finger, and you're wasting product and you're making a mess, and you got to wipe that stuff off somewhere, and it's just crazy. So really, you just need kind of an angled cut. Most of these, you probably can't see it on here because of the sun, but I'll get it up close there. They have marks on there for different dimensions, like, I don't even know, an 1/8 inch, it's 3/16, 1/4 inch, 5/16, and you can cut along that line. I don't use any of that stuff. I just do it by eyeball because I've been doing it long enough. Sometimes you'll get this little piece on the backside, but it's just, I don't know, maybe a 30-degree cut on there. One thing you have to watch out for is some caulkings have a little piece of foil down inside the tube that you'll have to punch out. That's why your caulking gun a lot of times will have this little rod on there just to break through that. This doesn't have that. A lot of times that's like silicone and different kinds of sealant will have that. And then the other thing is, get you a decent caulking gun. This one is not a super high end, but it's also not the little like $3 one. It has it does have a little bit of a release to it. You want something that when you're squeezing this thing, you're putting pressure up against the inside of the tube. That's how it distributes. And when you get done, you need something that will release a little bit. And all of them have a thumb release. And I just am in the habit of, as I'm squeezing, squeeze, and then I get where I need to stop, and I just hit that and it releases. I've just done that forever when I started with cheapy caulking guns. Some of the better ones have a thing that self-releases. So just get a decent gun. I like these because you can drop your tube in there, and then this rotates all around. So just get your plunger started, and there you have it, ready to go. So I'm going to move the camera up closer. You can kind of see, I'll show a couple of different things here. All right, so when I'm doing caulking, get this thing going, and well, first of all, I'll show you what most people do. You fill this up, big old glob like this, and then let me add a little bit more. So most people put this big old glob like this on here, and then you come back with your finger and you wipe, and you end up with this. This is insane. This is wasteful. And what do you do with this? So let me wipe my finger off. Let me clean this up a little bit. And a lot of times it's helpful to have a little rag nearby. Out exterior siding, sometimes you can just wipe it into the grains and it'll disappear when it gets painted if you don't have too much. So let me show you the right way to do this. All right, so you want the angle of your tip down to where it's fitting in there. And then you can just watch as it comes out. And you look how much is left here when I wipe that in. You don't need much more than that. So you can just a little bit as you come down like that. And then bring your finger back over it. And I have that much on my finger. And then I can actually just wipe that on into there. And it's gone. I have no mess. I might need to wipe that on a rag or on my shirt. A lot of times what I do. But that's really it. There's not a lot of mess there. It's not pushing way out here or over there. You know, sometimes you have a little bit on your finger. If on exterior, if your nails are set right, you don't even need to caulk over them. But if you have a nail like this one where it's punched in a little too far, you might take a little dab, put it in there, and just to fill that in a little bit. Not a big deal. Paint's going to cover a lot of that, but again, it's just a simple, put just a little bit in there, and I mean, you get good at this. You can move pretty fast with this. Come back with your finger, wipe that stuff off, and there it is. This is a very simple thing that anyone can do. You don't have to be like a long-time carpenter. You don't have to be certified painter. There's no qualifications for this. It's really just simple. Just don't use more than you need. And if you use too little, come back, add a little bit more over. Smooth it out with your finger, and sometimes you look at it and you're like, oh, I could use a little more. Do a little more, but don't use too much. That's just wasteful. Alright, so caulking done on this side of the house. Still have to do that dormer and then the rest of the house. But just had some time this afternoon to get this side done. So glad to have that done. So this side is ready for paint. If you noticed, when I did around the windows, I did the top, I did the sides, but I didn't do the bottom. And the reason for that is if there was a chance that water got in there, it needs to be able to run down and get out. So you don't do the underside of the windows because you want that water any kind of moisture that gets in there to be able to escape back out onto the siding. So that's that. That's going to do it for this week. I feel like I was all over the place this week doing different things, but don't forget to enter the drawing for the laser. Check that out. And the door lock that I installed. I know I didn't really show much about how it works, but it's pretty much like all the other kind of keypad Wi-Fi door locks. You can unlock it with your phone or a keypad, or you can send a code to someone if they're coming to stay and you don't want them to have your main code. You can set up a temporary code for them. So all those kind of things. If you're interested in that, there will be a link in the description for, I think it's like 30% off on that, if that's something you're interested in. If not, don't worry about it. I'm really trying not to make this a sponsored commercial type channel. I just had a couple of these companies contact me for the first time trying to figure this thing out. The laser I got because I actually wanted it, and I think it's pretty good. The door lock, I don't know. It's about like all the rest of them. I'm not sure what the price is on it, so I'm not sure how it compares, but it seems to work okay. So hopefully I won't be doing just a ton of sponsorships. It's not really what I want to get into, and I know nobody really likes watching commercials, so I'll try not to do that too much. But as always, I appreciate you watching. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you next time.